If you don't know, Karen Bass is a goner. She's gone. There's no chance of reelection. And if you're listening to shows that are lying to you and pretending that the people of LA are okay and that they're still backing Karen Bass because of unity and because Trump lied about something, you're totally wrong. Everyone in LA hates Karen Bass now. It's not like, oh, nobody could have seen it coming. When there was profit on the line, all the insurance companies saw it super clearly. So when Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass or any Democrat lies to you and says, oh, no one could have seen it coming, ask them about State Farm, okay? Because that shows you everyone saw it coming. So they're totally and utterly lying when they make excuses for their lack of preparation.
All right, guys, I know it's going to absolutely shock you that we're doing this video because we've not exactly given a lot of coverage to Karen Bass thus far, right? But today we got to talk yet again about Karen Bass and the situation in LA because it just continues to get worse and worse for the mayor of Los Angeles. And now she's at the point where not only has she lost the support of her own LA fire chief, we talked about that in a few previous videos, but now even the Los Angeles Times, a very pro-liberal, pro-Democrat newspaper, basically the LA equivalent of like the New York Times, right? Same exact politics. I think even people nationwide know that. Well, the LA Times has turned on her, okay? The owner of the LA Times came out this week, again, very hardcore Democrat, and admits it was a mistake to endorse Karen Bass for the mayor of Los Angeles. We'll show you what he had to say here in a second. First, folks, do us a big favor. Look, I'm glad that you guys are appreciating the LA coverage as much as I am because I'll be honest, right? It does have a special meaning in my heart because that's where I'm from. The first 18 years of my life, I'm now 21 years old, were spent in LA. My family's still there. My parents are still there. And so, yeah, I mean, I know a lot about this, first of all. I've lived through this all my life and obviously kind of an extra passion when it's your hometown. So if you're enjoying the content, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new. You subscribing ensures we can keep doing these videos. But with that said, okay, here is the LA Times owner ripping Karen Bass. You know, part of me almost wants to like gloat and say, why didn't you do this before? I mean, didn't you see this coming? But nonetheless, here's what he had to say.
Well, first of all, we'll accept some blame, right? So at the LA Times, we endorse Karen Bass. I think right now in front, that's a mistake, and we admit that. So I thought it was very important early on for me to come out. And I think we were one of the few to say competence matters. Got like maybe 20, 23 million views to show how that was really dear to the heart of most people, whether you're right or left. And it's an interesting thing is that maybe we should think about how we elect people on the basis of, did they actually run a job? Did they actually make a payroll? Do they understand what it is? And rather than having professional politicians whose only job is really to run for office, there's nothing, I'm not trying to be disparaging, but I think we're at the stage now of the nation and the world, and there's many things we'll talk about even in healthcare, that you really need people to understand, well, how it affects a man in the street, you know, how it affects the working type of person. And I think President Trump in this election has understood that, and he's become truly a Republican Party, as you said, has become the Democratic Party in terms of addressing the problems of the man in the street. So competence absolutely matters. And I'm glad that that's been taken up.
Yeah, so, you know, on one hand, it's really easy to watch a video like that and say, well, convenient that you're saying it now, right? And that's absolutely true. Like, it's kind of hard to determine whether this guy really means it or he's basically just jumping ship because he sees how the people of his city, a lot of his own readers, by the way, okay, so let's make that clear. It is not just far-right MAGA extremists who are really pissed about Karen Bass right now. But you know what, guys? At the same time, when you really think about it, do his motives really matter? Because I'm not exactly about to go read the LA Times because now he's finally saying what we've been saying the whole time, even before she was mayor, which is Karen Bass is not going to be a good mayor. mayor, because the overall point, what it shows, whether he's doing it because he believes it or he believes his readers think that, the leadership of Karen Bass is so bad that even the Democrats, in this case, the most prominent local Democrat newspaper that there is, are turning against her. And that is in spite of the fact that some Democrat surrogates, both in the media and on the internet, are trying incessantly to defend her. They're saying it's not her fault. You're only criticizing her because she's a black woman and that's racist, even though the Republicans and the LA Times guy, by the way, here too, are also criticizing people like Gavin Newsom, like we're not just putting it solely on Karen Bass. But despite all those excuses, what it's showing is a paradigm shift so severe that even in deep blue Los Angeles, which is not going to vote for a Republican presidential candidate anytime soon, they are starting to realize, oh, I think we elected a really bad mayor. And by the way, guys, she's not exactly doing herself any favors, because take a listen to take a look, I should say, like look with your eyes, the way she's handling some of these press conferences.
Looking back, would you have taken that trip overseas?
You know, I am going to focus today on what we know.
Mayor, can I ask you one question about Mount Gouge?
Okay, so once again, she refuses to answer the question about whether or not she should have gone to Ghana, right? Literally went to Africa as these fires were starting. Of course, the excuse by Democrats has been, well, she had that plan for a long time. How is she supposed to know? Gee, maybe because, by the way, LA residents will attest to this. A whole week before the fires, people were saying the weather reports were saying, look, Santa Ana winds are coming. A firestorm is likely to occur. Like, there was forewarning about this. Okay, let's be clear about that. It's also the prime fire season that you went all the way to Africa. But that's number one. Number two is, what the heck is she smiling about? And by the way, that's not the only time Karen Bass has done this. I mean, this is a video. I'm going to play it on mute here. Just watch. That's her in one of these press conferences about these fires. And again, what on earth is so funny? What is so happy that you're smiling about? Okay, just completely tone deaf, kind of strange, honestly kind of insane. And it continues to get worse, because take a listen to what happens as she is asked about this very issue of her own competence.
There are some critics that question the city's competence at building housing before this even happened and at dealing with the fires, and wonder whether the city can really handle this. What do you say to critics that
what
say
I say is that the city can handle it. The city will handle it. We have come together before. As I mentioned, I was here in 92. I was here in 94. We did it then. We will do it now. And we have the extra burden, excitement, opportunity of the World Cup coming. And you know that prior to this tragedy, we were focused on getting ready for the world to come. We have to take care of Angelenos first. I know we will have LA strong. We will stand together. We will stand unified. It's very heartwarming to see the thousands of people that come out who have been offering supplies and goods and everything that people might need. I am completely confident that we will be able to do this, because we will be correcting deficiencies in our bureaucracy in order to expedite the building.
We can handle it. The city will handle it, she says, because they're doing such a fantastic job. They did such a fantastic job of that before. And perhaps even more infuriatingly, what does she say at the end there? She's like, we're going to fix all of the deficiencies in our bureaucracy so that way we can rebuild fast. This is also a sentiment that was uttered by Gavin Newsom, who suddenly now in the wake of these fires is signing an executive order to lift a lot of the bureaucratic and environmental red tape that does not allow you basically to build anything new in California. Because in the case of that Palisades Reservoir, the one that was empty and that caused the whole issue with fire hydrants. A lot of people were talking about that. You know why, guys? Do you know why that Palisades Reservoir was empty? It's because they basically needed to put a lid on it, right? They needed to put a lid on the top so that the water would not get contaminated. And it took a whole year. They never were able to replace the lid, largely because, again, to build anything new in California, there is so much red tape. But now, and because of environmental reasons, by the way, the climate change activists apparently think it's good for you not to have water. Like, that's literally how insane they are. That's literally how insane the policies are in this state. And now all of a sudden, in response to this, they're saying, we're going to lift the red tape. We're going to finally do our job. No, it's too late. It's too late. Okay, that's just the sad truth. People already died. People lost their homes. And now suddenly, After years of warning about this. It's not like California was blindsided. I know a lot of people like to criticize, for instance, Greg Abbott in Texas, because they're like, hey, look at the electricity issue that happened years ago. And he is not immune from blame or criticism. I think there are things he could have done beforehand. But especially in the case of California, this kept happening time and time again. And suddenly now we're removing the red tape. Suddenly now we're going to take actually governing seriously. Like serving the people and doing right by them seriously? No, it's way too late for that. It is way too late for that. And by the way, is Karen Bass even capable of that? As the LA Times mayor brought up, is she even actually a competent and serious person? Genuine questions everyone should be asking. But with that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on this, okay, in the comment section down below. This situation in LA just continues to become a bigger and bigger disgrace. You know, I think the one silver lining is perhaps there is a genuine chance that Karen Bass does not win re-election in LA. Rick Caruso, who is a guy identifying as a Democrat, but basically a Republican, right? He kind of is trying to play the politics. But I think if he runs again, last time he only lost by 9. He was a big law and order, anti-homelessness candidate. Hopefully he can win this time off of the back of this crisis because, you know, maybe, hopefully this finally has woken some people up. I don't know. I'm not going to bet any money on it, but it's possible. But yeah, this woman is a disgrace. And you know, as a Democrat who's like hardcore with the party, you know, endorsed by Obama back in 2022, all of that, when you have lost the Los Angeles Times, you're in a really bad position. So that's Karen Bass right now. With that said, though, again, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.